Hey everybody, my name's Kevin, and this is JACoB. So JACoB is my AI coding bot. JACoB stands for Just Another Coding Bot. I built mine about 9 months ago to help me with my day job. A lot of my work is a lot of front-end dev, a lot of setting up new websites for new startups, creating MVPs, and I started using AI into some of my existing workflows and came up with the idea of JACoB as basically being my summer intern. So I built JACoB to work really nicely within a lot of my existing dev workflows. So everything goes through GitHub. We start as an issue. JACoB will work through that issue and create a pull request when it's done. We also have this Figma plugin, so we can easily go from designs directly into code. And what I want to show today is sort of a typical project that I would do, which is, our designers have put together this nice page, and I actually need to put together the marketing site for JACoB. And so what better way to do it than to actually use JACoB itself? All right, so the way this works is we have a GitHub repo that I created. This is just a brand new repo. I'm using T3 as a starter, but basically this is just using Next, Tailwind, a couple other kind of standard tools here. And you just go through a quick setup. I added a few little things. I had a storybook to get some visual testing here. And then also, I added in a couple of custom fonts, that need to be used here in the app. All right, so within this repo, I have set up a GitHub bot, the JACoB bot, and let's go ahead and try to build out one of these components here. So the way I'm going to build this, I'll go sort of component by component. We've got our hero page, our section. We've got our design for dev, intro, why JACoB. I'll just kind of go through and create these all as individual components, and then at the end, we'll just kind of piece these all together. All right, so let's just run the plugin here. You can see, first thing is, if you weren't already authed, it would ask you to sign into GitHub. And then from here, you can see all the repos that you have enabled. In this case, we're going to do the JACoB.ai website. Now you could choose to update this design for an existing component or a file. In this case, it's going to be a new one. This is our hero, so we're just going to call this hero. This is a component. We could do a page as well. And then here's a really nice feature, which is you can just add in whatever additional instructions you want. So, in this case, let's see what we got here. So the demo video is actually kind of a placeholder. Let's just leave that as a placeholder for now. So you can just say demo video, just a placeholder. Nothing else. This is all pretty basic stuff. I think that wait list will probably go to a certain page, but for now this is good. And let's just start writing code. All right. So in the background, what we're doing is a couple of things. First of all, we're taking this Figma. In the back end is this huge mess of JSON, and we're turning that into a language we call FigML, which is a AI-specific version of a Figma document that GPT is really good at understanding. We're also using the new vision endpoint. So along with that description of the actual design and the layout, we're also including an image so that we can use both of those together. And we found that by using both the image and the actual information from the document itself, you end up with a really good representation of this component at the end of the day. All right, so you saw there, we went ahead and that worked. And now things are just kind of working behind the scenes. Just like if I had assigned this to, an intern or a more junior dev. So we'll jump over here to our issues, and you can see here's our a new issue for this. So here's our little AI bot, and in this case, here's this kind of a loose first cut at this component. Now, this is definitely not what we want as our final component. There's lots of things in here that are a little bit wonky. First of all, you can see, I use TypeScript. This is just standard React. You get some things like this, like the hard-coded colors, which I would not want to use that. Hard-coded widths. We have placeholders here for our icons. But anyway, so then we have our instructions. So these are the instructions that are given. Now, when you set up a repo, you can run a really quick config script. So within 30 seconds or less, you can tell JACoB all of your specific customized ways that you write code and things that you do. So along with just kind of basic language, you can specify, how you do styles. Do you use Tailwind like I do? Do you use plain CSS? Other frameworks you could include. Other things like, icon sets, right? Like I'm using Font Awesome for this. So we have that in here. You can tell it where some, sample files are, some other pieces of code where you've written components in the past and you want the AI to kind of use your same styles and your same, just specific ways of writing code. And it does a really nice job of sort of taking that existing design or that existing file and applying those styles and all those little quirks and ways that you write code, get those into the new code that's written. Now, along the way, we're going to get some updates here. So in this case, we know that JACoB has sort of taken this on. You can see that I'm assigned to this. So I'm going to get all my standard GitHub notifications, emails. I've got, normally my Slack would be going off here. I turned that off for the video. And then in this case, you can see here, we have a pull request. So we tried to do that, but if you notice what's happened here, we have a build error. Okay. And that's fine. That happens quite a bit. Think about, it's hard to write code perfectly the first try. In the background, we have this whole process and this workflow where the AI will first come up with a plan, and then it makes an attempt at writing some code. It'll push that up as sort of a draft PR, so I can check it out and kind of see what's going on in the background here if I wanted. And then anytime it has a build error or any kind of issue with the tests, it will actually take that information, feed it back into this code creation loop, and then it'll start to, create that code again. It'll try, 5-6 times. Usually it figures it out after a while. And you can see here, all right, so we've completed this. We got a pull request. Okay, so here's my pull request. You can see some files that were changed here. In this case, you can see, here's our plan, okay? This is a plan that the AI came up with. It's got all sorts of interesting stuff. We want to have responsiveness in there. It's pretty cool. And then here's our first error. So in this case, so this is a new repo, and I told it, I prefer to use Font Awesome as my preferred icon set, right? Just my own preference. But because it's brand new, I'd actually forgotten to install this. So we detected that it's not installed, and JACoB actually went in the background and installed it. Same thing here. I think this is So this React Font Awesome, this actual solid icon wasn't there. Installed that. Okay, now that we have that, JACoB is trying to do a storybook story. All right, so let's go ahead and see what some of these files are. Now, what's really cool is, we loaded in these dependencies, right? These were missing, and it knew that we needed those, so it went ahead and did that. In this case, here's our story, right? There's not a lot of components. This isn't a dynamic thing. This is just sort of a basic piece here. And then here's our code, right? So you can see here, again, we've got the icons pulled in. We've got some really nice, kind of Tailwind information here. Nothing's hard coded. This is all kind of using dynamic stuff. One of the nice things is it noticed that we had a button here, right? Made it a button. And it added this click handler, right? We don't know exactly what to do, so it's just console, right? This is a very reasonable placeholder to kind of put in here. And then what's really nice, this button, we have the span, but then we also have this little arrow, white arrow. If you remember back to the design, that's exactly what we have here, right? So this all looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and pull this in. Now, one thing you could do is, we've got this branch. We can pull this down, run this locally. Let's merge this, and let's just go ahead. I'm going to go through and create a few more components, and then we can go through in that storybook and just kind of check those out here in a minute. All right, so in this case, what do we have here? So our next one this is our intro. Now this has an actual image in here. Right now we don't have it hooked up to actually include images directly, although that is something we're working on this week, so that should be up here soon. But we have a bunch of different information here. This looks pretty good. And so what is this called? Intro? Let's just keep this name. Designers did a nice job there. No specific instructions. And we'll just let this one go. And, because a lot of these don't depend on each other, I pulled in that one pull request. Otherwise, it would probably just keep trying to do that, install those icons over and over, which in this case, let's just keep it in there. But I was looking at some of these. Let's just go ahead and kick these off. And this is kind of a nice thing about this, is you can just go into Figma, and just like if you were, acting as a PM, you're adding in some, tasks for someone else on your team to kind of work on. We can just keep going through here and just knocking a few of these out. Let's see, what is this? Designer for devs component. That's fine. What do we want this one? Let's do JACoB next. This one will be interesting. We've got a few different images or icons here. We'll probably have to pull those over, but these aren't something that I would typically see in Font Awesome. But we'll see what happens. We can try that out. One other thing that I did is I did pull in some of these custom colors. So, we have a library of colors here in Figma, and I set up, this pink and some of these dark blues and some of these other things in here. And one nice thing about what JACoB is doing is, we're actually going through and we're doing a full pass through of your entire code and passing some high level source map to the LLM. And so it understands things like, all of your different types. And so, this page is static, but if this was something more dynamic and you already had some types that were, that you needed, it would use your existing types and add those into components or pages. It'll understand some of your specific Tailwind configs, and so it'll use some of your custom colors, things like that. Again, just little things that I found built for myself over time because, as a dev, I don't want to keep manually kind of correcting all of this AI written code. I want it to write code on the first try that's going to be as close as possible to what I need to do at the end of the day. So here's another one. We'll call this one JACoB. Sounds good. What do we have here? Code in action. All right, this one's got a few more images. This is a little bit more complex, so it'll be interesting to see how it does with this. I could break this into smaller components. That's one thing that's nice about this is, you could go kind of as high level or as low as you want. In some case, just checking out these buttons here. We might, a lot of these buttons, they're all different styles, so I don't think we need to over-engineer it and create different components for each button. But in theory, you could. And then it would actually use those components when it looked at a button and saw something similar. Instead of rewriting it, it would actually pull in that component, which is kind of cool. All right, let's pull in this guy here. Code in action. And the way that we have it set up right now, we have a queue system so that every time you create a new issue, it'll go through and it just adds it to the queue. So if it's currently working on something right now, we sort of have a single tenant. So, things are kind of going sequentially. But in theory, we can deploy this across a bunch of different containers and make this a lot more scalable and a lot quicker. But a lot of times for this, I really like to think about this as, if I were to kind of send this off and to assign this to, an outsourced dev or junior dev, the expectation isn't that it comes back in the next 30 seconds, right? Like if I get something back in a day or two, I'm pretty happy. And in this case, waiting for 5-10 minutes for something to go through, and if I'm making that trade-off between 5 minutes or 30 seconds, but that quality bar is so much higher, I'll make that trade-off every single day. When it comes to my day-to-day job and actually something like this where, this is probably a couple hours of really tedious front-end work that I would have to be doing, and instead I'm able to, hit a few buttons and just have this kind of working. All right, so here's another one, JACoB in motion. All right, we'll kick that guy off. And we got 2 more here. This one's pretty basic. CTA. I wonder if this CTA is just this little piece or if it's the whole thing. Ooh, and look at that. So we got a video, but with this custom player on top of it. It'll be interesting to see what it does here. It's a pretty fancy little design that our designers came up with. We'll see if we get there. We might just kind of have that as an embedded video for now. But again, we'll kind of see. We'll see what happens. Okay, this is just this little piece here. I run this guy. I need to figure out my keyboard shortcut. Okay, it's our site. CTA. All right, joining the wait list. Entering. So this is actually a form. Yeah, in this case, how about this? What do we actually want to do when the user hits this button? Okay, you want to enter your email, join the waitlist. We'll probably just set up an API endpoint to capture that email and to add it to a waitlist in the database. And so let's go ahead and just explain this, just like we would if this was a junior developer. Okay, so when the user clicks the join waitlist button, grab the email, validate it, and let's what are we gonna do? Let's post it to /API/waitlist. Right? That makes sense, right? Yeah. So that seems reasonable. We obviously have to write that, but that should be a really straightforward piece of code to write. Okay. Okay. So building. All right, last one here. We'll grab this footer. I'd actually done this header just to make sure everything was set up properly. So that's actually a pretty basic one. But you might have noticed that was in there. In this case, we've got this logo. We got this little tagline from our designer. I'm going to actually remove that. So, yeah, so let's just run this. There it is, Command Shift B. So we will call this footer. In this case, let's give a few instructions. In this case, I'm trying to think. I don't think I have a logo. I guess this is just an image. That's fine. Normally, I would say, hey, if I have a logo component, we could use that, but we don't have that. Please don't include the design by awesome section. Those guys are great. Just want to keep this off our production site. So again, we'll just kind of leave this in there, kick this off. We could have said something about these. I just realized these are social buttons. We actually don't have any social links yet. We're still getting kicked off. But that's fine. We can always remove those, or over time we can add actual links. But you could actually say there, if we knew what those links were, we could say, here's a link to our LinkedIn, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. All right. So we did that stuff. Took 5-10 minutes? Not too bad. Now, hopefully that just saved us a couple hours worth of time. And so let's check out kind of where we're at here. How many issues? All right, so we have 9 new issues here. Let's start from the bottom. Some of these new ones. So we've got our intro. You can see here we got some basic stuff. This looks good. I'm basically just kind of checking to see if there's any errors or anything. Looks good. I actually got it on the first try. So, again, I'm not too surprised. This is a pretty basic design. We're not trying to do anything too fancy here. I always like looking at these plans. I think they're kind of fun. This is actually kind of neat here, right? So we want to reveal the classes used and ensure they're valid according to our config. And it says replace any arbitrary values with custom color names if they match exactly. So this is really cool, right? So this is actually going through and looking at my Tailwind config. I can pull that up in a second, show you what's in there, and just a couple colors, but that makes a big difference, right? Like if I actually have some custom colors in there versus the standard stuff, having to go through and manually replace all of those, or have colors that are slightly off from what we have in the design is not great. And then this is kind of nice too. This is our, these stories, like, I love having stories. Storybook's great. It's such a pain to write these, and oftentimes I'll just kind of skip over it and like not best practices. But a lot of this stuff, right? Stories, we've got this set up coming soon, like with tests, being able to write some tests in there, handle a lot of that stuff. And so, it's pretty nice to be able to have all that stuff. All right, so just looking at this looks pretty good. This one is actually, had a bunch of different pieces here. This is interesting. So we're pulling in this workflow diagram.png. I actually don't think that's in the well, I know it's not in the code base, but we'll have to go through and add some of those images in. But again, that's one of those nice features that is coming soon, to be able to pull those images in directly. So that looks good. Looks like we're continuing just to get some more pull requests come in over time. We'll check a few more of these out. One thing I want to do is start to, I'll pull these in. I've set up a custom, like a hosted version of Storybook for some of these before. In this case, we're not doing it. And this one's really neat. So check out what happened here. So this is our Designer for Devs section. Where is that? This, right? So look at this. We've got this section with all these little cards. We got 6 different cards that, this is all kind of standard stuff. We don't want to have to keep repeating this over and over. And so here, basically saying, hey, we're not sure what to do when people click on this, right? Are these clickable? Are they not? In this case, they're not, which is fine. But, just kind of made this little note. Yeah, don't know if we're going to add click handlers, but if you do, just stick it right here. And then what's really nice is it actually created this separate component, right? Feature card. We're not repeating that same stuff over and over and over again. Title, description, and then you just have these nice feature cards with titles and descriptions. And notice it grabbed all of this text. You're not having to copy and paste this over again as a developer. What a pain to have to do that. We just got a new update to this one too. And you can see, there's the story. So it's going through. So it's cranking through the stuff over time. Think about how much time it would take to do all this stuff. And again, is this hard? No. Is it a pain? Absolutely. And what's nice too, look at this. So we're putting in some of these, different, it's responsive, right? So we've got the padding, when it's a large screen, we've got much more padding on the outsides. For small screens, we make it small. I would love to see a row or a column. Let's see what we're doing here. This is a wrap. That should be fine. Yeah. This looks good, actually. So it'd be interesting to try this out. Look at this, half size third. So again, this is, these cards. So they're saying basically on a large screen, we can get 3, across and 2 rows. Otherwise we do half and half. And then we, if it's a small screen, we just make it a single, length, right? So again, responsiveness just built in. This is awesome. I love it. Okay. Let's see. We got some new ones here. And one thing that's cool, I'll show one. This is a new one. This is that CDA at the bottom. Notice right here, this should be set. It's set as a draft, right? So the way this works is the first time through, JACoB will try to create some code. And then it goes through this whole pass of, did it pass the test? Did it build? Linting issues? Anything that's just not quite right? Try again, try again, try again until it passes all those. But in the meantime, most of the time when there's a mistake, it's usually something like there's a type that's a little bit off, or something might just be a little bit funky coming back from the LLM. We do a lot of work to try to make sure that everything is really solid in terms of our prompt engineering and a lot of the instructions that we give. Again, I've used this for a production website for a good 4 or 5 months, created hundreds and hundreds of components and pages and things using this system. And so over time, I've really kind of learned how to tamp down a lot of the funkiness when it came to any kind of issues. All right, so this one's cool because look at this. We've got I actually built this form out for us. We've got this it's setting the email. This all looks good. Join the wait list. Yeah, it's cool. We got a bell. We got a star. We got users. Let's see. I'm curious to see what this looks like. Where's our bell and our star? Where is that? That's interesting. This is our CTA, right? I'm curious to see what it did. I don't see a bell or a star, but looks like it added those in there. Exclusive updates. Yeah. Huh. All right. We'll see what it does there. All right. So in this case, this was a draft. I think it's still kind of working on this. The other nice thing, there's a lot of little touches in here, right? Because I opt in as to GitHub, it knows me. It added me as a reviewer, right? I can go to my email. I can I could show you my phone here, and we got a bunch of messages. So maybe you can see this. It's my auto /JACoB. All of these are basically notifications that stuff has been happening and that I eventually need to check this out, review it, merge it in. This all looks good. The other neat thing you can do with JACoB is, again, I want to make this work just like a junior dev. And if this was a junior dev, what I would do is I would look at some of these things and if there's any kind of questionable code or something that, I might want to add this in here. In this case, you can do something like this. JACoB, handle live coding, click. Just trying to see here. What does this actually mean? Yeah. These aren't clickable. Actually, they should be. Yeah. Oh, I guess when we click these, we get new videos. We don't have those many videos right now. But I guess that works. We'll leave that for now. We've got this image that we pulled in here. So I'm curious to see what we're doing here. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so we've got kind of a placeholder image with a video. It's doing this gradient here. Okay, interesting. And then, look at this. So it's actually trying to put that backdrop blur. This is really interesting. Pink 500, right? It's this thing here. I wonder if it can get that little circle text. That would be pretty awesome if it could. I think that's way beyond what we're trying to do here, I don't see it in here, which is fine. But the fact that it actually got this little, it looks like it's got a pink background circle with a white play icon, which is that, right? That's pretty cool. So this is great. Curious to actually pull these up and see what they all look like. But again, so if I want to change this, I can just, make a change here. I just leave a comment. Anything you do here, JACoB will grab these comments. We'll just kind of do a loop, come back with updated code. You can review it again and keep going back and forth until it looks good. I'm not going to bother with that right now. The other thing you can do too that's kind of cool, there's lots of different capabilities here. We're just showing off one piece of this, which is that design to code piece. But you can also do things like, let's say you've just written any kind of code and you want it to do a code review. You can just say, hey, JACoB, do a code review. and it'll actually go through and give you a code review. It'll try to make its own changes to it if you want, or you can just kind of leave that review as is, which is kind of a nice feature. All right, so let's see how things are going here. Let's just start to pull some of these in. This is 4 minutes ago. Header. This one's pretty basic. We're looking for a logo. Again, I haven't actually pulled in that logo. I'll pull that in a sec. This looks fine. What are we doing here? Oh, this one tried to, I think this one tried to pull those in too. I wonder if it's going to give me a conflict if I try to do that since we already pulled it, but let's see. At least with that lock file, it's probably going to, no? All right, cool. Pull that one in. Let's go back through, where are we at? Sorry. Pull requests. Let's actually open these in new tabs. Let's just kind of boom, boom, boom. And by the time we get these first ones reviewed, we'll go through. Now I'm going to do just a quick once over just to make sure we're not doing anything cuckoo here. But yeah, purple. I would actually like, I think I have a pink custom color in there that I would use, but again, this is close enough for now. And one thing I found with this, and this is actually super important, right? The expectation here is JACoB is intended to save you time. It's not intended to be 100% perfect every single time. You know, if you're the type of person where if, you know, AI to you is something where if it makes a mistake, you think it's like you're just going to push it really hard to try to figure out where all the mistakes are and try to get it to like not be that great and kind of laugh at it when it screws up. This probably isn't the tool for you, right? Because there's going to be stuff that's not quite right. But the intention and what I've used it for, again, for my own day-to-day job in a real life and just trying to save time, be more productive, and basically be kind of lazy, right? It saves a ton of time for me, but it's not perfect. And if the expectation is for it to be perfect, like you should probably wait for another 2-3 years for, you know, version 7, version 8. But in the meantime, you know, this stuff is going to really, you know, I found that this workflow specifically and a lot of the back and forth and the loops and things that it's doing in the background will get you really, really close. And again, having all this stuff just already, we know it builds, we know it works. All this stuff is done remotely in a separate container, so we're not at risk of like blowing up our own system by running any kind of weird, you know, scripts on our local laptops, anything like that. This stuff is just kind of, you know, really helpful, you know, as a time saver. All right, so we'll pull that in. I think this last one, are we done with this? Yeah. So we added an extra file here. Brands SVG. Oh, interesting. So in this case, we had to get Facebook, Instagram, and there's a whole different package for those, right? And it knew that, so I pulled those in. That's pretty sweet. Oh, interesting. So we're gonna. What are we doing here? It's actually got links to Facebook, LinkedIn. That's pretty awesome. That's fun. Okay. Okay, we got our package lock. We got our stories here. This looks pretty good. I don't know if this thing's completely done, but it's a footer, right? Like, that's cool. Let's let it go. I think, yeah. So at this point, you know, basically, next steps, review it. When you get to those next steps, you're good to go. All right, let's pull this in. All right. So cool. So we got our stuff in, you know. And honestly, this is my first time doing this, right? I haven't actually tested this out ahead of time. I thought I'd turn on the camera, see what happens for this. So we're going to pull this down. We're going to see how close we got. And where are we at here? Is this our... Sorry. Bunch of stuff going on here. Anyway, we'll just have anything. This was called JACoB AI. What is it? Cool. You can see everything came down. Let's just for the sake of, you know, let's run a build. Let's make sure everything's working okay. Oh, local. Gotta install it, right? And then let's run this. Bum, 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 bum. I got a couple warnings, right? This is like, oh, this is a dumb thing. I don't want that. That's why yes line. I don't. That's annoying. But let's just let's open this up. There's our guy. Remember, we added some things in there. I think I get rid of this. Huh. I thought this was off. Oh. Yeah, let's turn that off. I honestly don't care about that. That's fine. That's fine. Let's just check this out. Warnings. Actually, I think that's fine. React is defined. That's okay. That's okay. Okay, Bill. That's good. And in this case, I wonder, do we have Storybook set up? I actually don't think I have. Oh, we do have Storybook. Let's just run Storybook just to see what these things look like. I'm actually very curious to see what we got here. Okay, so we got Storybook going. Now, we should have a bunch of components. There. Okay. Now, again, remember, we didn't actually pull in images, so some of these things might look a little bit funky, but let's see where we are at. In this case, we don't have Tailwind. I'm going to pause here for a second and get our Tailwind. The Storybook's not set up for our project, so I'm going to get that set up. It's going to take a second. I'm back. We had a few quick updates here. Mostly need to get the Storybook story up and going. And then just a handful of just a few cleanup things. Pulled in some of the images and made a few tweaks. You guys, I'll push up a pull request. You guys can see what changed. But now let's go ahead and take a look at some of these components and what they look like. All right, so let's start at the very top. Here's our header component. Just to get a sense to remember where we were. This looks pretty good. This is pretty straightforward. And then we've got our hero section here. Meet JACoB. Join the wait list. There's a demo video. This is, of course, the video I'm making right now, so we'll get that in there. And then there's this section here. Introducing JACoB. What is this? Intro. Yeah. So again, pulled in the image here, but for the most part, this is looking pretty good. Might need to make that a little bit smaller, but for the most part, I think that looks okay. And then what do we have here? Design for developers. Set for teams. Sure. I don't love this design actually, so not hating the fact that it's a little bit different, but that looks okay. Okay, what do we got next? Why JACoB stands apart. Okay, so this one has these kind of custom icons that they put in here. And what's interesting is JACoB actually suggested some different icons for these, which honestly I kind of like, especially that open source one. I just found that I kind of like the centered text there. I might mess with that or move this over, but for the most part, yeah, there's a few little font things. Let's take a look at that one. What is that? Why JACoB? Let's actually move those over. What do we have here? We should probably pull this into a thing. Let's not do that. I think we can probably grab that there. That's probably what's causing the issues. And we'll just kill some of these and delete that. Delete that. Yeah, it's a landing page though. It's okay if a few of these a little bit repeated, but for the most part, that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. All right, what do we got going on next? See JACoB's code in action. So there's a lot of, actually this one's quite interactive. I kind of cut this one down just for now. Oh, is that right? No, code in action. This one. Here, oh, that's a little funky looking. bad for the most part. This looks pretty okay. Yeah, this one could use a little bit of work, but what about it? It's pretty close. Right. Let's see, AI developer at work. This thing, ooh, that cool demo thing here. AI developer at work. This one? Oh yeah. JACoB in motion. What's the AI developer at work? Okay. Again, I like a little bit of this space and like, ooh, look at that fun thing. That's like a live button too. Ooh, fun. Okay. I actually like the little bit of a little fuzzy. Okay, cool. That looks good. Of course, we'll get a real thing in there. And then this little call to action. This is a little, that's a little bit tricky to have that inside there. I think, yeah, that's a little bit of spacing. Let's just bump the spacing up on the bottom. But overall, not bad. I think it's this. Let's just add a little margin. Oh. Okay. Why are we not getting these? Oh, that's fine. Okay, that's just so we can get that, and better. And this last one here, let's just let's really make a big space here. That looks better. Okay, cool. All right, that's looking a lot closer. This background color, is that right? What do we got here? Slightly off. Actually, this is one where I can change that. That looks better. Okay. That indigo is just not quite the right shade of blue, and we had a custom blue in there. Now this could, we could do some fancy stuff here with this, but honestly, I kind of like this treatment. That's fine. And last footer, that looks kind of terrible. Your email address. I don't know what that was supposed to be. To be honest, this footer's. We didn't even have an email address there. We had a logo. I'm just going to skip that footer for now. We don't really need that. All right, so let's put this thing together. Let's look at actually this home page here. Let's kill Storybook. Let's run this guy. Okay. We got our local host. Let's see what we got. Okay. I put in the intro here. We might need to do some work to kind of separate these apart and get all this set. Let's do that. Item center, that looks okay. Now let's just start putting some of these things in here. So what do we have? Our header, right? Intro, what do we got? Hero. JACoB in motion. Let's just grab a few of these and then we'll order them properly. What else do we have here? JACoB in motion. Why JACoB? Oh, designer for dev. Designer for devs. Code in action. Yep. We have a CTA somewhere. CTA is at the bottom. Okay, let's grab a few of these. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Nice look at, places where Copilot helps out, places where we can use this. But look at this. So we got a site. Okay. So we've got the header. We've got, hero, intro. Here we go. We'll add this video right there. Introducing JACoB. JACoB in motion. Where JACoB stands apart. Look at that bad boy. That's pretty sick. All right. So, we got a little bit of work to do here in terms of like JACoB in motion. Let's cheat a little bit. We'll just give it a little bit of padding here, which is not perfect, but it's a landing page. So, what was this one? This is our introducing JACoB into the codes like you do. Intro. P4, let's do PY12. Nice little padding there. Looks better. Demo video. That meet JACoB, that hero is a little bit big. We don't need to screen that. The background is already. So, well, we need something here. Space there. Okay, cool. Waiting for that demo video. And let's do. There we go. That looks a little bit better. But not great. Let's do 3/5. That looks better. All right, here we are. JACoB in motion. We'll watch the demo. Oh, that guy needs a little bit of padding at the bottom. JACoB stands apart. Actually, it's funny because I actually kind of liked why JACoB stands apart. Why JACoB? Is there a big space at the bottom? Did we finish? Yeah, we don't need that. Let's make this instead of indigo. Let's make that a dark blue. We don't need 24. This is good. Design for developers. Let's do this. JACoB's code in action. We remove some of this. This one needs a little bit of work. This. I don't need a screen. White. Wow. Does this need to be white? I guess that's fine. Sorry, let's just clean this up just for completeness sake. I actually kind of like the way that looks. There we go. And then let's just a little bit more spacing. Oh, okay. Let's get that. That looks pretty good. Let's see if this works. This should take us right here. Yeah, okay. This is our website. Cool. Okay, and then we got this guy at the bottom. And then let's just put a little bit of padding at the bottom. All right. So there we go. This isn't. Oh, look at that nice pink ring. I love it. All right. This isn't quite ready to go yet, but we are pretty darn close, and you can see how quickly that came together with using JACoB. All right, we'll commit this code and end this video. You guys can see this actual live commit in the repo. That repo is live. I'll leave all that stuff as is. You guys can see some of the little tweaks I made and things, but for the most part, pretty straightforward. All right, thanks for checking it out. JACoB, JACB.ai, and would love to have you guys try it out. Thanks.